everyone talking about how and when to wear overpriced expensive fragrances, even if you're on a pretty strict budget. So the how is pretty simple. Samples and decants. So a lot of people might think that a sample would just mean that it's, some tiny little thing you can get one wear out of. But if you're not aware, most sample sites like have decants up to 10 milliliters and sometimes even more. And that can last you quite a while. So say that you have $25 to spend, but you really are coveting like some fragrance that's by Clive Christian or somebody that's, very expensive and that you definitely can't afford a bottle by. You can get a decant that's whatever size you can afford that just has a smaller amount in it and use it more sparingly. So that way you can totally still wear it. You can stay within your budget. And yeah, maybe you can't overspray yourself as much as you might want to, versus if you were getting a cheapie. But I know for me personally, at least, I would rather feel like I smell really good and like I really love the smell and just use it a bit more sparingly than smell a lot of something that's just okay or whatever. And also the fact that often, not always, the pricier ones are going to have better longevity and projection, so you wouldn't need to use as much. Now, and I will link in the description a video that I have of the top 20 best places that I recommend buying fragrance samples and decants from. It's not going to be possible 100% of the time to find a decant of a fragrance you're interested in, but I would say 95% of the time for me, I can find it. And even then, you could go look on Reddit. There's fragrance areas where people are willing to like go in on a bottle with people and then kind of split it up and things like that. So in terms of when to wear them, if you're really trying to make them last and don't want to like never wear them, obviously either. What's the point? These are 5 occasions that I think are good for wearing overpriced, expensive fragrances. One, this is very obvious, but special events, for example, wedding, a party, going on a date, or say you go on a lot of dates or something and like Tinder addict status, like one that you're particularly excited about. I'm sure that's not revolutionary news to anyone, but that's just, one on the list is, like some big special occasion that's not an everyday thing that you're going to like get dressed up for example, or that you otherwise want to just like really, present yourself a certain way at. 2, sort of going to sound similar to that, but I actually don't mean it in a similar way necessarily. When you need a confidence boost. So yes, if you're going to a special event, that could be a bonus too of the fragrance, but I'm talking about how you feel about yourself, even if no one else can smell it. For example, I know for me, if I'm on a Zoom call with somebody and I'm wearing a fragrance that makes me feel more confident, I know they can't smell it, obviously, but like, it still just makes me feel like I'm presenting myself better and just more confident just like smelling it on myself and just knowing it. So I think that can work for a lot of people. Say that you had like a job interview over Zoom or something like that. That's really important. I wouldn't recommend wearing anything strong to an in-person job interview. Definitely, that could actually not get you the job if someone has fragrance sensitivity or something. But so like just when you need a confidence boost, you could be in a room by yourself. Nobody can smell you, nothing, just you yourself. It can still actually make a really big difference in giving you that kind of like confidence boost or like a pick-me-up type of feeling. 3, this is a little bit arbitrary, but if you've had it for a long time and it might go bad soon, so there's so much mixed stuff out there, and I don't claim to have the answer about how long exactly each type of fragrance lasts, and what if you don't store it in a dark, cold room? Is it going to go, bad overnight? I will say for sure, like, I haven't had any of my fragrances, I don't think, go bad so far, but yeah, and it's not like I store them in a dark room or something. I just keep them out of direct sun, but they still get plenty of light and stuff, so... But say that you've had it for a while and it's been a while, like, especially stuff with citrus, that does seem true that it sometimes tends to go bad a little bit sooner. Then, why not wear it if you're feeling like a little bit iffy or like maybe it seems like it's starting to lose some potency, if you smell it or something like that, might as well use it while you can. For if it's the end of a weather type of season that the fragrance goes with. So for example, if it is a cold weather fragrance and it's coming up on March or wherever you are in whatever month and time winter ends or the cold season, then you might as well get some use out of it. And again, if you only have a very little bit, that doesn't mean spraying it every single day for the last month of winter or something like that. But as it's like kind of coming to an end, like using it a little bit more, even if it's not a special occasion or something, because it's like, you're not going to be probably using it again for like 9 months or whatever. So it would be still used pretty sparingly. And kind of a couple that are tied, I would say, for number 5. I would say one of them is kind of obvious, which would be that to compare it to a cologne, a lot of expensive fragrances have cologne versions where another fragrance company will make something that smells very, very similar and sell it at a much cheaper price. You can Google, clone of whatever fragrance you're interested in to see if there's one like that out there. But definitely recommend, if at all possible, to even just get a really small sample of the really expensive one when you're buying the clone. Do one on one arm and one on the other so that you can really compare it and get a feel. You might think the clone smells good, but then if you actually smell the real one, you might be like, oh, wow, okay, no, this would be worth it for me to prioritize just buying a smaller amount of that one. And on the other hand, maybe you'd smell it and be like, oh, no, the clone's totally fine. Like, I don't need to pay all this to re-up on this one again. So that is, another good time. And then that last one kind of tied with that is before, say, Black Friday type of sales, when you're trying to decide whether to buy more, say that that's the only time of the year that you can afford to buy whatever the fragrance is, because often places have like huge, especially fragrances have big ass profit margins. So those sales are pretty decent around Black Friday, typically. A good time to remind yourself. And your taste can change, anything from like hormones, anything else can make the way that you smell things change a little bit. So if you, give that a smell or a wear or whatever, ideally, before Black Friday is coming up or some big sales season, then you can kind of remind yourself, get an idea like, yes, do I really want to buy more? Do I want to take advantage of this time to get more of this one or like another Decant even, because those sites have sales too around then? Or is it kind of like, no, I'm good on this one or something like that? So definitely don't jump into just buying more of it just because you see a sale. It's definitely worth, doing aware of it again to kind of remind yourself and decide if that works for you.